So glad you are with us on Everything They Never Told You. Brad Johansen with Joe Wirbick, President, CEO, CFP, Sequinox Wealth Management. Can we add anything else?
No, we don't need to add
that?
any more, Brad. That's plenty. That's
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. 2026.
It's 2026. Hey, hold it. I want to do this for you right now, because if you guys are looking for something moving into 2026, I ought to do something to better myself. Everything They Never Told You About Retirement. But the better line is what you have as the subtitle. The new rules for retiring rich without the BS, big words, and boring lectures. How do you get this? Let's put up the QR code for you, because I know you want something free in 2026 after you spent your life savings on Christmas. This is something that Joe has put together for you in plain language. That's really simple, that gets you an idea of how do I have a guideline for figuring out how to retire, because you've been doing what you've been doing for 40 years, and now you're trying to figure out how to do retirement the right way for the next 30 years. This will do it for you. Scan the QR code. Joe has said, you know what, I'll send this out to you for free. I don't know why he does that, but he's going to send this out to you for free. You just scan the QR code and say, I want to learn a little bit. You had some lessons in 2025, at the end of 2025, that, my goodness, can I just say I'm grateful that you're here with me right now.
I'm happy I am too. And in the book, my favorite chapter of the book is the chapter 7. I call it Why Wait, but a better title for that would be The Working Retirement. I don't think that people should wait till they retire to retire.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that you shouldn't just live your life to work. You shouldn't just be that individual who puts in 40 hours every week and never takes a break and doesn't
60 hours every week.
Or 60 hours or 80 hours or 100 hours, whatever people are putting in. You should try to take breaks throughout the year. So my chapter 7, the last chapter in the book, talks about how you can do that, how anybody can try to find time. And that was a big goal of mine and my wife's, was let's make sure that we aren't just working. Let's make sure that we're actually living, and trying to experience.
For you and your wife, what does that include? Actually living is going to be different for everybody.
It is different for everybody. People have hobbies. Some people like to golf. Some people like to play pickleball. Some people are sports fanatics and they follow their favorite teams. We are world travelers, and our goal is to try to see every country of the world. Trying to.
Really?
Yes.
When did you set this goal?
I think we officially set it probably 5 or 6 years ago, and just said, why not? Let's
because both of you say, you know what, I love going to different spots.
We both absolutely love to travel,
okay,
and we love to get away as often as possible.
Really expensive. So for a lot of people,
it doesn't have to be expensive.
Okay.
And we're not going to get into how you can use points on credit cards to use. We're not going to go down that road, because you can actually travel really inexpensively. It doesn't have to be
if you set a plan.
If you set a plan, yes. But that's not what we want to talk. We want to talk about what just happened to me on my travels. Over Christmas, we were over in the Himalayan areas. We saw Bhutan, Nepal, and then we spent Christmas in the Maldives because we were over there.
Wow.
And I don't know if you know where the Maldives are, in the Indian Ocean, right off the southern tip of India. And beautiful escape if you have a chance. If you're ever in the area, you should try to see there. But we were on one of those over the water villas where, it's just beautiful ocean, crystal clear water. And they had warned me that there were strong tides in the area. They said, hey, just be aware of this, but I'm a guy. And you know what I mean by that?
As soon as somebody says, be warned, you go, okay, I'm going to risk it.
Let me try to test this, hold my beer, And so I saw something and I was like, hey, I'm going to check it out. So I dove off the villa into the ocean. And next thing I knew, I was about 200 feet away from the villa. Immediately. The tide was that strong that it swept me out into the ocean. And I turned around and I swam and I swam and I tried and I struggled. And I'm a pretty fit guy. I work out every day. I think that I have stamina, and the ocean just completely gassed me. I had nothing left in the tank. And I actually started thinking through things like, okay, I may drown. Like, I'm 200 feet away from the villa. I can't get back.
This is real.
This is real, and I can't breathe. Like I had lost the ability to take in oxygen, and things started going through my mind. And I survived. My wife came out on a raft. Eventually, somebody came out on a boat, and they rescued us. But I'll tell you, when you're in that situation, you start thinking about your life. You start thinking about, have I done the right things? Have I lived life to the fullest? Am I prepared? And one of the things I thought about, which is crazy, and I actually thought about life insurance.
Did you really?
I did, because I'm a planner. I mean, this is what I do, and this is true. I'm here. I am in the Indian Ocean, being swept out to sea, and I'm thinking, okay, if something happens to me, number one, I've lived a good life. And I thought that. And number two, I've set up my estate and I've set up everything so that my wife and my children will be okay. And I did, that thought went through my mind. I don't want to get emotional about it, but it was an emotional moment for me. And when my wife came out to get me, she actually said,
now you're thinking.
She said, I've never seen terror in your eyes like that. Because I thought that was it. Like, I'm not going to get out of this situation.
Let me pause. So I'm leaving everything to my wife. Now your wife's coming out in the middle of this. Did the thought go, oh my gosh, it's the both of us now?
Well, the thought at the beginning was me, and then she was out there, and then we couldn't get back. So she came out to get me, and now we're both stuck out there. And I thought, oh my gosh, now, yeah, not only did I risk my own life, now I risk my wife's life, and we're both struggling. But again, I knew that we were okay financially, but I felt like a complete jerk in that I risked my own life, and now she came out to save me. And then 2 lifeguards came out, and they were gassed. And now I thought, oh, I'm going to end up taking 4 people out. My ineptitude, my just lackluster belief that I'm okay is going to cost the lives of 4 people. But the boat came out, it rescued us. We got back to the villa, and I've never been that tired in my life. Just completely just wrecked of energy. And I lived through it, but it did make me realize, what's important in life, and am I prepared, and how can I get my clients prepared? Because in 2025, I lost a few clients, and we do every year. Clients pass away. And so have we done the right planning ahead of time to make sure if that emergency happens, if that accident happens, if you're no longer here, do you have everything set up properly, and will your family be okay? And there are a few things you can do to make sure that that's going to happen. And one is working with an advisor, working with a planner, working with somebody who can show you the holes in your plan, or maybe you don't even have a plan.
Well, I mean, isn't that the majority of people?
I would say the majority of people don't have a plan or life insurance. And I think just taking a few minutes to talk about life insurance, I think life insurance gets a bad rap from a lot of people.
Because?
I think it has to do with how life insurance is sold. And sometimes people get a bad feeling from life insurance agents, which it's not fair. I think people should realize that if someone's trying to offer you life insurance, they're trying to protect your loved ones. They're trying to protect your family should something bad happen to you. So if you don't have life insurance, I mean, if you look at yourself and say, oh, I've saved for retirement, I have my 401k, I have my IRA, I've set up my wills and my trust and my documents, but have you taken the time to just look at how can I get some low cost, effective life insurance in place should I pass early, to make sure that there's money there to take care of the myriad of issues that are going to come up upon you passing. Number one being there's no more income. So if you're young and you're the breadwinner and you die, that's it. The income's done. And now maybe you have a young wife at home, maybe you have kids at home. So have you sat down? Minimum 10 times your salary. Minimum for life insurance. If you're saying, how much should I get? What's a good starting point?
Yeah.
Just at least get 10x your salary in life insurance. And if you don't have a lot of money, get term. Term is so cheap these days. Term insurance is so inexpensive. I carry term insurance. I carry whole life, I carry universal life, I carry term insurance. I carry both because I have immediate needs and I have long-term needs. I have a bunch of term insurance because it's so cheap to make sure that everybody is okay. But then I have that long-term permanent insurance that's always going to be there that will protect me later in life.
Is this something you talk people through at whatever stage they may be? Because there may be people at 50, and we have a lot of people now saying, I'm 50, I'm tired of this work. Doing it a lot earlier than, because 65 was always the magic age. Now people are saying, I want to travel the world. I want to hit a lot of different places. Can you talk people through in whatever different stage they are to say, here's what I think you can do and here's how we can help?
That's a part of our written financial plan. One of the aspects of our plan is protection, is that insurance piece. And are you going to use that insurance for income replacement? Are you going to use that insurance for taxes? At the end, are you going to use that insurance for long-term care? What's really amazing over the past decade, life insurance companies have said, we're not just going to offer a death benefit. Because that's what a lot of people's number one negative reaction to life insurance is, well, it's not for me. I mean, what do I care? I
don't get anything.
I don't get anything from it, because I'm dead. But now, term insurance, whole life insurance, universal life insurance, all of them offer long-term care riders that allow an older individual or even a younger person who may become chronically ill. Chronic illness means you can't take care of yourself for an extended period of time. These life insurance companies allow you to use the death benefit to take care of yourself, to pay people to come into the house, to set up new equipment and systems, to be there, to monitor you, to make sure that you can dress yourself and feed yourself and take your medicines and just do the things that you need to do. So it's no longer just about that end of life, I'm dead. It's now about both aspects, the death benefits and the living benefits. And so if you're young, if you're in your 20s or your 30s, you probably need some inexpensive term insurance. 10 times your salary, cover your debts, put some money away if you have kids for college, for weddings, some basic planning. But as you get older, you want to start looking at that permanent piece to be able to take care of you later in life, because chronic illness happens. It doesn't just happen in our 70s or 80s. It can happen from an accident. It could happen from diving into the ocean and, nearly drowning. We do things and life just changes on a dime. It just changes.
This is all of the, we've got to go to break, but I want, while we go to break, for you to have a chance because all of that is within the book, that everything they never told you about retirement. It is yours free if you scan the QR code. The idea is putting together a plan, because we tend to kick the can, right? We're going to procrastinate. We don't need it now. Or do you? Because the runway gets shorter as you get ready for retirement. So have a plan, have an understanding, and then you're probably going to want to make a phone call. Joe, I need some help, to 844-403-2275. Let's do this for you to get out ahead of it. We got a lot more to talk about on everything they never told you. We'll tell you next.
Got out of high school and I went directly in the Army. So I spent 4 years in intelligence as a Korean translator. When I got out, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Met a friend of my spouse at the time who was in finance and just said, I think you'd do well in this. At the time I was kind of lost, didn't know what I wanted to do. I was driving truck, 21 years old, and just trying to figure out life and what's gonna happen. I had a wife and a kid and I just needed to do something. This opportunity came along, but I didn't think it was for me. And so I kind of passed on it. But I'll never forget one day I was in the truck and it was the summer and it was hot. And I was just fed up with what I was doing. And there was a guy in front of me, I can still picture him today. He was in a Jaguar, he had the top down, and it just looked like he was having the time of his life. And I was miserable. And I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna find something that I'm good at, that I love, and I think I'm gonna try this. Financial services, financial planning. And I really love teaching other people. So to be able to have a career where I get to meet with people, I get to talk to them, I get to help them solve their problems, I've really enjoyed it. I love what I do. I wouldn't want to do anything else. And it's been almost 30 years and I'm hoping for maybe another 30 more.
So glad you're with us on Everything They Never Told You. Brad Johansen, Joe Wirbick, Sequinox Wealth Management. We're lucky to have Joe here. Look, and the understanding is it's not just a one-time thing. We have to plan for the what-ifs. We don't have any idea what's moving forward for us. If you can tell us when you're going to die, Joe can put together a perfect retirement plan for you.
Super easy.
Super easy.
Yeah.
But the problem is we don't know. The crystal ball is broken. You talked about life insurance in the first break, but I want to go into moving on when I say that the runway is shortened for people going into retirement. I'm going to put up everythingrothquiz.com. You continue to put together things that are going to be a little bit easier for people to go through, because what don't I know? What will everythingrothquiz.com help for people?
Well, I think it's going to give you an idea about how you're saving currently, and are you doing it properly? You know, I just met with an individual, very successful young man in his early 60s. And he's been saving. He's been socking the money away. He's been at levels above and beyond an ordinary American. I mean, this guy had a nice amount of money in his retirement, but he did it all pre-tax. He put everything into the 401k.
Well, that's what he was told to do, right?
That's the issue. That's what he was told to do. He was told, hey, when you retire, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket. Now, this guy had saved so much money that when he retires, the required distributions from his retirement account will not only be in the six figures, they're going to push him into the 35% tax bracket, goodness. A higher tax bracket than he's in right now. So he's earning a nice living here, but he has saved so much pre-tax, and they've just changed the RMD age. We know at one point it was 70 and a half.
Sure.
Then they raised it to 72.
Because that's what they do.
You know, and then they raised it to 73.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
If you're not 73 by the year 2033, it's 75. Yeah. And it sounds like that's a positive. Hey, they're pushing this off. But it's not a positive, because what you're hoping is happening that whole time. You're hoping that account's growing, right? You're investing it, but that means that account's growing. You're older. Now your life expectancy is shorter, so your required distribution is larger.
Because you've created growth.
You've created a massive amount, a tax retirement time bomb.
And the government knows that.
And the government, to this guy, is going to go to him and say, hey, pull out a couple of $100,000 a year. And assuming taxes don't ever go up, assuming they stay exactly where they are now, they'll be in the 35% tax bracket. So he has effectively saved so well that he's pushed himself into a higher tax bracket in retirement. The positive is he came to us. We were able to build a plan and show him how by over the next 13 years, because he's 62 now, 75 is his required distribution. Over the next 13 years, we can do systematic Roth conversions. And the nice thing about doing Roth conversions is it doesn't cost him any money out of his pocket. So he has all the retirement income he needs. We're taking that money from the IRA, moving it to the Roth IRA, and we're paying the tax directly out of that. So it doesn't affect his lifestyle. But what we've done is we've lowered the value of his tax-deferred assets. We've increased the value of his tax-free assets, and we've reduced or completely eliminated the required distribution. Now when he gets to that age, he's tax-free in retirement. He's not in the 35% tax bracket. And that everythingrothquiz.com can show you just the very beginnings of what a Roth can do for you. But that's just the first step. The next step is a plan, a full financial plan for that individual, where we look at every aspect of their life. We build that financial plan. We show them in just a few minutes how much tax we can save them, what their income's going to look like. You know, we look at life insurance if that's a part of the plan that's necessary. And we start building out their future, so they know what their runway looks like. They have that roadmap, and they just know that they're going to be okay in retirement.
See, there's a happy ending to, oh my gosh, here's what the government wants from you. Everythingrothquiz.com. Scan this QR code. Do it now. It is so simple. Joe has made it really user-friendly for you to have an understanding of what this means to you. 62 years old, he now has a 13-year runway because he's setting up a plan. You're going to have people coming to you at 65, 68, 70 and going, hey, what's with this RMD thing and all this qualified money that my advisor didn't tell me about right now? The sooner, the better.
Without a doubt, the sooner the better, but it's never too late. I've done Roth conversions for people in their mid-80s, in their late 80s. You know, Roth can work inside your plan at any point in your life because we're at the lowest tax rates this country has ever seen. So that gives us this huge opportunity. We got massively low tax rates, and with the big beautiful bill, we just got one of the largest standard deductions for retirees ever. If you're over 65, you could have almost a $48,000, $49,000 standard deduction in 2026. That's almost $50,000 of tax-free money that you could use to do Roth conversions.
And maybe this is your time now. Go to everythingrothquiz.com. Scan the QR code. It's for education, which is why we're here, because nobody ever told you how to do this. So this is everything no one ever told you. Now we're trying to tell you how to make this work for you. Your situation's different. Maybe you're not 62. Maybe you're not 70. Maybe you're already into this already and you've had an advisor for a long time to help you accumulate. And this is why Joe is here, to specialize in making retirement the perfect one for you. So then make the call to 844-403-2275 so that we can set up a financial plan that is complementary for you. Maybe nobody ever told you needed a plan. Now's the time. 844-403-2275. Back after this.
What I think makes Sequinox unique is the fact that we ask the hard questions. We look at a client's not only their balance sheet, but what they want to get out of life. And we create a roadmap, we create a plan to allow them to retire at the same level of income that they had when they were working. You know, there's this whole 80% of your income when you retire. Forget that. I want 100%. Whatever my client was living on, I want them to get that every single month plus inflation for the rest of their life. And so we're going to focus on the investments, but we're going to focus on taxes. You know, we're going to look at liability. We're going to make sure they're protected. We're going to make sure that if they become ill, they're okay. We're going to create reduced risk portfolios so that the downturns in the market don't affect them negatively. And then we're going to create an estate plan so that they have a legacy that they can pass on to the next generation. It doesn't all go to the government. I believe that's what being a financial advisor, a financial planner is. It's not just looking at the return. It's so much more.
So glad you're with us on Everything They Never Told You. Brad Johansen, Joe Wirbick, Sequinox Wealth Management. I want to put this back up. Levi, if you could put the book code back up here, because this is everything that you need to know. And Everything They Never Told You now is in here. Scan the QR code for this. Joe will send this out to you for free. Within this, we've talked about how blessed we are to have you back, because there's a lot of what ifs. And then what if nobody ever told me about what I'm doing for a plan? And you talked about the multiple things that we have to do to put together a plan. It is daunting for a lot of people. I've already got an advisor. I've had an advisor for 20 years. When's the last time you talked to him? Well, I haven't really talked to him because things have gone pretty well, right? If you're in wealth management advisors who are in growth mode, we've had pretty good growth.
Yeah. They're making money.
So why is this different? Why do you want people to say, maybe it's time for a second opinion?
You know, it's the titles I think are important. You know, who are you working with? Are you working with somebody who is an advisor? Are they a life insurance agent? Are they a registered representative? Are they a certified financial planner? That's what separates us at Sequinox, because we're certified financial planners. We approach it in a different manner, a different fashion from all the other individuals out there, because they're a lot of times they're just one-trick ponies. They sell mutual funds, they sell annuities, they may sell life insurance, and that's all they focus on, and that's what they spend their brain power on trying, and they're good at it. Don't get me wrong; they are probably the best at that area.
Sure,
but you need to combine all areas together. You need to look at the entire picture, and taxes. one of the most important overall aspects of your financial plan. And so many advisors will tell their clients, oh, I'm not a CPA. Go talk to your CPA. Worst advice you can give them, because CPAs know nothing about this.
Yeah.
CPAs are not prepared. They're not educated. They're not trained on retirement taxes. They're trained on just everyday run-of-the-mill 1040.
Looking back.
How much can I save you this year? Who cares how much I can save you this year? The question is, how much can I save you over your entire retirement? Because you're going to be retired, hopefully, for 25, 30, 35 years. And there's a possibility in the future that taxes could go up, a possibility that they could be higher, because we only have a $36 trillion deficit we have to pay for at some point in time. So understanding, number one, who you're working with. So if that individual said to you, if your advisor said, don't worry about Roths, it's because they don't understand the tax code. I spent the last 7 years building the single most advanced financial planning software in the country. So that when I sit down with my clients, I know every aspect of their situation, their income taxes, their tax on their Social Security, their tax on their Medicare. Most people don't even know that there is a tax on Medicare. It's called IRMA, Income-Related Medical Adjustment Amount. If you make too much money in retirement, you're going to pay a higher Medicare premium. So you got a tax on Medicare you have to worry about. You have tax on your money that's outside your retirement accounts. I had a client, a recent new client, he had a portfolio that somebody else built for him. I inherited the portfolio and I couldn't really do anything to the portfolio because it had very large capital gains in it. So I'm not just going to go to him and say, hey, sell all this and pay capital gains taxes. But this year he had to pay almost $40,000 in taxes. And I don't want that to happen to my clients. I don't want them to have to pay taxes on assets that they aren't even using. So call the number on the screen, scan the QR code, reach out to us, and let us build that plan for you so that not only 2026 is a good year, but the rest of your life is a fantastic year for you. And you know what's going to happen. You know what's coming down the road. Give us a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour of your time. Let us build that free financial plan for you so you know what the future holds. And make sure you check back with us next week for another edition. Thank you.